Thank you, Speaker. Would the Chairman Amore yield, please?
He will yield. Proceed.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for indulging, Chairman.
Of course.
I have a question on page 34 regarding need-based grants and the reduction in need-based grants. To clarify, this isn't to attend a public institution. This is
Correct.
to attend a private institution. And it was the governor who originally requested the reduction in these need-based grants?
Correct.
Was a basis provided? Was a basis provided for the reduction in need-based grants? I'm trying to understand the rationale.
Yeah, the funding for this program is a finite resource. So it's going to run out in the next 2 years. And that's the reason, to try to extend this and keep this program alive.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to move on to Section 15, which deals with the administration of the School Building Authority Capital Fund, please.
Sure.
If you look on, that's going to be page 35, and it's item number 4 on line 16 through 18. It seems that we're increasing the fee amount to cities and towns.
Yeah, actually, we're actually decreasing that, because what's happened under this program is the fee is being paid every year or every time there's a bond. We're saying that this is going to be a one-time fee for these cities and towns, so that it's a single. It's not every single time there is bonding.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Speaker. I'm just confused as to why in Section 13 for need-based grants, Mr. Speaker, why we're providing free college for CCRI students where there is no means testing. We'd be reducing the amount available for means-tested grants. I think we should be doing the inverse, actually. I think we should be preserving means-tested grants for our poor students who want to attend university, and taking that money from the non-mean-tested CCRI free college plan. As to Section 15, the administration, I appreciate your explanation, Mr. Chairman. I kind of read it differently, because it allows a fee to be based on the original principal amount. So if, say, it's a 10-year bond, you pay down principal over the 10-year period, and the fee would still be calculated on the original face value of that bond, not the outstanding principal. That's my interpretation of it. I do hope I'm wrong, but it is what appears to me the plain language. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for yielding, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Hull.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is Section 2 through 12 divisible, that we can vote on that separately? And the reason why I have a problem with, we have 3 institutions here in Rhode Island, and it would be remorse on me if I didn't speak up, because Rhode Island College sits in my district. And are we pitting ourselves from one school to another school, and can't we work together, since we only have 3 schools, public schools, under one board? Could maybe the chairman give me an answer to that?
Sure. Thank you, Representative Hall. That is a concern that was raised at both the hearings in the Senate and the House. The 3 institutions have different missions. They have different goals. They serve different students. At this point in time, the University of Rhode Island is an outlier among its equals, top-tier research institutions, that all of its competitors and all of its neighboring schools have this type of board. It wouldn't be out of the question for Rhode Island College to do the same at some point, because the missions are different. The attempt to raise resources is different. There's a completely different mission for each of the 3 institutions in the state of Rhode Island.
I get it, Mr. Chairman, but my concern is we're only 1 million people here. Do we lessen the education, or make Rhode Island College and CCRI look totally different, since we're not that large? And I can understand, I'm a alum, so let's get that right off everybody's back here. I'm only in defense of my college, in defense of Rhode Island, let's put it that way.
And I understand that, and no one advocates for Rick more than I do on a daily basis. But I think they do have unique missions and unique student bodies and unique programs. And I think they can all have their space in Rhode Island,
okay,
even with this implementation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And is it divisible, Mr. Speaker? sections 2 through 12?
Section 2 through 12 as a block is, yes.
Thank you. Could we do
Yes, we can. We will vote that block together.
Thank you.
And separate. Whip Chippendale.
Thank you, Speaker. I have mixed feelings on this one, but unlike my normal MO, I'm going to take a leap of faith and support it, and I'll tell you why. First, I'm a little dismayed that we've cut transportation aid, which I know is not particularly articulated in here. We'll see it in Article 1, but the transportation aid to regional school districts is something that is certainly very close to my district. However, the URI proposal, I'm excited by. I think it's a great opportunity, and I do hear the concerns of my brothers and sisters in the room. But this is an opportunity to take what really is a world-class university. It's an amazing facility. If anyone's been down there and has toured some of their labs, be it engineering, nursing, etc., within the last couple of years, it's frankly one of the most impressive that we toured when my daughter was looking at universities. So I understand what we're trying to do, and I support what we're trying to do. The only hesitation I have on that is the quickness with which this became an issue and became an important pressing issue. Typically, this type of a large move is something that there would be a series of hearings and debates and information sharing prior to any sort of an action like this. However, again, unlike the black and white people usually accuse me of being, I'm going to be gray, and I'm going to say I will trust this is going to be the right thing, despite my trepidation. I think it will benefit all of the schools, because I think it will allow RIC to focus on its uniqueness and not have to worry about also accommodating URI as well. So I think both schools will excel. But let's make URI a notable world-class institution. It already is, certainly throughout the East Coast, as we all know. Let's really dedicate ourselves to this in the years to come to make sure that we stay on point and on mission with this and make sure that we accomplish the goal that's been set forward. And again, with that, I will hesitantly vote yes on this. Thank you.
Okay. Representative Caldwell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like Wick Chippendale, I rise in support of this bill. I appreciate the clarity going forward that if there's an error in the computations, that districts will have to pay for that or get it in return. But this year, the district's being held harmless helps my district. We were in there to lose a lot of money, and it was really going to harm the school experience for a lot of our kids. And so I appreciate that a lot, and especially the House fiscal staff who worked really hard to explain to us and our school committee and our town how the formula worked and what was happening with that this year, and I know really appreciated the hardships that was going to come for my district this year. So again, I rise in support and hope that all of our colleagues can support this.
Representative McEntee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in full support of the Board of Trustees for the University of Rhode Island. As an alumni and a proud representative from South Kingstown, I will tell you that I have known President Dooley since the day he walked on that campus while I was a town councilwoman in South Kingstown. He has said to me continuously, we need autonomy to make this a world-class institution. I agree with him. He needs a Board of Trustees that's not only dedicated to URI, that is willing to serve and serve for years at a time. He has done a magnificent job with this university, and with the limited amount of funds that we give him, he has made this a university that is research-oriented, top-notch. I can't say enough about it. Again, I say the motto is think big, we do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Fogarty.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This particular piece of the budget is near and dear to my heart. Since I did go and testify on this, I have been dealing with the university since 2002 when I first became a town councilwoman in South Kingstown with the other president, I'm sorry, skipping my name. Thank you, Carruthers. Very nice man. And I saw the master plan come out, and I saw buildings being planned, the dorms, the bioscience building, the pharmacy building, the chemistry building, and way down the road, the future engineering building. And so this school has been moving forward. They do need the autonomy. They need to move quickly. And I want to make sure that Rick gets its recognition, Representative Hull. But the university, being the anchor university and the flagship university, it does need to be more agile to get to work with private, public businesses and become an economic driver. This university, along with the $20 million bond that I helped put in a few years ago, innovation bond, has already started to develop some innovation through cybersecurity, through farming and agriculture. Great things are happening at the University of Rhode Island, and I'm glad that I've been there since 2002 to support it before President Dooley got there, but he was a great addition, and he's been a great person to work with, and I highly support supporting the University of Rhode Island. It will continue to do great things and bring jobs to the state. It is an economic engine. Thank you.
Leader Filippi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too support the Independent Board of Governors for URI. On a separate note, if it's the right time, I'd like to divide out Section 13, beginning and ending on page 34, relating to the reduction in need-based scholarships. I believe that is divisible.
It is divisible.
Thank you, Speaker.
We will so vote. So we'll vote this article in 3 sections. Chairman Jacquard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question for the floor manager, please.
Chairman Amori will yield. Proceed.
Chairman Amori, on page 16 of the article, lines 14 through 21, regarding existing bond debt. This is the first time I've had a chance to read through this, so sorry I'm coming last minute with this. But why does it say that the Board of Trustees has basically control over the issuance of bonding for the benefit of the University of Rhode Island, Community College of Rhode Island, and Rhode Island College?
That's the exact same power that the current board and post-secondary commissioner's office has. It just transfers that power to this board.
The current board has it for all 3 schools. It seems to me we're transferring where the money goes for bonding for all 3 schools to a board of trustees that is only committed to University of Rhode Island. That's the way I read.
No, I mean, my interpretation is this would just be the URI-centric bonding.
It's not what it says. Now, it could mean that the bonds in general are earmarked to all 3 things, but this is a very, very dangerous section if it's interpreted wrong. I mean, it's not a fair fight. When you're talking about these 3 schools, it's just not a fair fight. The Community College of Rhode Island and Rhode Island College gets the short end of the stick every time.
Representative, if you look at line 16, it says, or jointly, or jointly with the Council on Post-Secondary Education.
And on behalf of, okay, I'll take a second look at it.
Right now, URI and RIC have joint bonds. So that's why the and/or wording is this. It would be both boards. It would be the current board that still exists and the new board.
I'll take a second look at that. I mean, if there's a different interpretation of this in the future, I think it would be a priority to fix.
And they would still have to go through the General Assembly for all of this anyway.
I'm sorry?
They would still have to go through the General Assembly for all of this anyway.
I understand for the bonding itself, but then it seems like they can decide how to portion out the bonds. I just think that we need to keep an eye on how the two boards are interpreting this and make sure that it stays separate and that some, interpretation of this doesn't come into play that harms the other two schools.
No, and I understand your concerns, but they did work closely with Rybeck on this to ensure that would not happen, and bond counsel to ensure that would not happen, and that all three schools would be taken care of. Thank you.
Okay, there are no other lights.